And then Ood and Leon could cut off your arm and eat it, like we discussed on the Issei Sagawa episode. And then you could get your prosthetic arm. Beep, boop, beep, boop.
I guess that is a thing.
Does that give you like a half Wendigo, or do you have to eat the whole person?
I don't know.
Warning, this podcast contains violence, sexuality, gore, and other horrible and disturbing things. Listener discretion is advised. Also, the hosts of this venture are ignorant dipshits, so please do not take anything they say as fact. And enjoy the show.
Now, are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then we'll begin.
Today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be.
The atoms in your left hand probably came from a different star than your right hand.
It is our basic human right to be fucked up.
A second plane now has crashed into the other tower of the World Trade Center.
Putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
The defendant shall be incarcerated for the rest of her natural life with no possibility of parole.
You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men.
We were somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold.
Occultae Veritatis.
Alrighty, welcome back to Occultae Veritatis. I am Ood Gallifrey.
Sage Murray!
And in studio with us,
Leon Filger. That sounds a lot like Richard Bigley.
Again. Same gag.
Special guest robot.
Not special.
I'm still special.
You're the most special out of all the specials.
Aw.
Yeah, and as you know, Leon is still keeping a baby alive, and that's a big responsibility, so we're giving him a couple weeks of maternity leave.
Yeah, we'll allow it.
Yeah. He will show back up on the after shows, though, because we record those differently, and it's complicated.
Yeah.
Today we're looking at pickup artists, so to do that, we need to grease ourselves a little bit of poison.
So, what's your poison?
What's your poison?
What is this beer? Why does it say ladies and gentlemen at the top? Ladies and gentlemen, Jerkface 9000.
I am the Jerkface 9000.
Okay.
Go fuck yourself.
So this beer is called Jerkface 9000, and there's a puppet-looking guy that looks like a...
No, it's like a ventriloquist mannequin.
It looks like if Chucky aged really ungracefully.
And like all of the bones in his face doubled in size.
No, it's like on that Goosebumps with the mannequin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
His ears are pierced, though. That's pretty cool. And bow ties are kind of cool, too. He's got a little bow tie.
Oh, hey, there's a little message on this. It says, "Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you, buddy. How about you grab a can of this Mosaic hopped American wheat beer and cram it down your pie hole? Did I hurt your feelings too friggin' bad? When it's this good, you ain't gotta be nice about it."
This is a perfect beer for the pickup artist episode.
So perfect, dude.
I'm gonna crack it.
Okay.
Nice pap.
Nice pap. Have you been listening to
Wine and Crime?
Wine and Crime?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is a very full can of beer. It's like
a very full can of
right up to the top. Look at that.
They don't skimp.
Yeah, this ain't no bag of Lays.
This ain't no bag of Lays.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. What if they're a sponsor someday?
I love Lays.
Now on to our sponsor. I find them underwhelming.
But now you've ostracized Old Dutch.
I like Old Dutch too. I'm a slut for chips.
I'm a slut for chips. Sage Murray 2018.
You gotta have some of that crunch.
Don't die, Richard Bigley.
Once you pop, you just can't stop.
It's true.
Yeah. And really, who wants to pop just once? The urge to pop is going to come back again. So,
It will.
I mean, yeah.
And you can satisfy it with many different kinds of chips.
Yeah.
Well, that's a beer.
It is a beer.
That is definitely a beer. It's very hoppy.
What is the kinkiest flavor of chips?
Oh.
I think ketchup.
Why?
Kinky.
I don't know. It feels like it.
You see,
it's probably one of those really gross seasonal ones.
Oh, yeah.
Like
K. I'm on this group on... Listen. I'm on this group on Facebook, and they post, like, pictures of weird stuff, like... weird regional foods that they have, and someone posted a picture of Christmas tree flavored chips.
Christmas tree flavored chips.
Yeah. And it had like a picture of like a cedar bough on
Did
the.
it taste like pine?
Piney.
Yeah, they said it was awful.
Mint chips, yeah. it
So
sounds
like,
terrible.
isn't that weird?
I'll tell you what the kinkiest flavor of chips is.
Okay, is it all dressed?
It's poutine.
Okay.
No,
Because you buy them and you think it's going to be so good.
Yeah.
And then you just get...
It's like having sex with a white guy.
You just get denied at the end. You don't get any payoff.
I love poutine
I
so
don't
much.
know. I always felt that the sour cream and onion would have been the more like, kinky flavor.
No, that's totally the most vanilla flavor.
Yeah, that's
No. You've got your sour cream, you've got your onion. Like one's a vegetable, the other one's like a fermented milk product.
No, it's totally
And they
vanilla.
just kind of get together, get it all on, and
I would think like malt vinegar and sea salt would be like the kinkiest flavor.
Those just...
But that's just like two ocean things, the
Is it because, like, if you rub it in a wound, the salt and vinegar will make it sting?
Well, it would. And if you eat too much, then your tongue gets all raw.
Yeah.
Okay. Despite...
She would know, wouldn't she?
I would. I'm a slut for chips.
Yeah. Despite this beer looking the way it does and, like, insulting me, like, as I pick up the can, it's pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird. Like, I don't like... I'm not a big beer person, but I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. I really like this.
I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. I love this beer. It's delicious.
Oh, I actually rate this maybe at like a 6 or 5.
A little too hoppy for you, or what?
I don't favor a hoppy beer.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main thing. I like a yeasty beer. I don't like a hoppy beer.
I like hoppy.
Gross.
I like hoppy as long as I don't get to the point where it's like numbing my mouth like I'm at the dentist,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just came from the dentist.
Oh,
My
yeah.
teeth are so clean.
Oh, goody.
Yeah,
I
I'm
do the
thinking
whole, that whole thing? Yeah.
I would go with like a 5 out of 10 on that. I'm also not a fan of the hoppy beers, and the fact that they say wheat beer on it, kind of makes me think it's going to be like a light, summery
right?
kind of
That's
weedy
kind of
beer,
what I
maybe a
was
bit
looking
of
forward
fruit,
to,
and then they're like, well, actually, here's some hops, but it's not like crappy hops. Like you can have some.
Fine.
You can have some beers where they're like the IBU on the beer is so bitter that the tongue can't even, I think the tongue can only go to like 68, but the beer's like 140 or something stupid like that. And it's like, well, what's even the point?
I miss when I lived in Winnipeg and I could get half pints. I should pick up a taster pack for that sometime and bring it in.
I'll be up for that. Yeah, if there's anybody out there that makes beer, even in their basements,
I'll drink it.
Hit us up on ovfeedback@gmail.com. We will gladly accept whatever you send us. Please don't poison us.
Yeah.
I have a 9 Mile growler, so next time I'm on, I'll bring it in.
Oh, fuck.
Nice.
There we go.
I love 9 Mile.
Okay, that saves me. I don't have to buy gin and tonics now, so that's good.
Before I enter into the set, I'd like to get a hotter girl, ultimately. Is that proximity?
Tell you what, I'll make a quick spin around and look for hotter. And use these as
I'm so glad I didn't go into that set just now. If I get an interrupt in the first 3 minutes, that's called an external interrupt. It can compromise my values. Because then here I am, standing there waiting for them to make their introductions. But I'm not well known enough in the original set to be introduced. Lowers my value. I lucked out on that one. I believe I have my 2 set in mind. I'd like to create some social proof. First, if I'm going to enter into the set, by the approach alone, I'm going to convey my interest. So, the most logical thing at this point would be for me to open an adjacent set. And then, I don't necessarily have to merge it forward. I just have to be seen with a female.
Unlike our incel episode, where it was very easy to come to a point where pretty much the whole community is very, very toxic, the pickup artist community is much more of a mixed bag.
There's kind of a gradient there.
Yeah. There are some pickup artists that see themselves and how they see others and improve the way they make social interactions, and they do that through actual good advice, like learning who you are, getting involved in health and fitness, getting your health up, different things like that. At the other end of the spectrum, there are pickup artists that are educating...
Rouge V.
Yes, Rouge V, a big one. Educating people to actively assault women, and unapologetically. And sometimes they don't even use like weasel words and tricky language to hide what they're actually going for. Sometimes they come right out and say it. And I have a few readings that we're going to go through. Quotes
I'm excited.
from actual pickup artists. Yeah. So basically, I think the meanest thing I can do to these guys is take the top guys in the field that are still active and just expose their methods for what they are. That way nobody has to buy them and nobody has to spend money on them, and you can kind of see how hollow they are. So yeah, let's start. First off, let's go with a little glossary. What is last-minute resistance?
Oh, when women are like, oh, I know, but yes. That makes sense.
Yeah, pretty much. Last-minute resistance, as defined by pickup artists, is when a woman gets nervous right before sex and starts to say no. And they come up with strategies to make that no into a yes and all that good stuff.
Gross.
Oh yeah. So last minute resistance is a major thing to overcome in pickup artist communities. What about AMOG or AFOG? This is an acronym.
Oh, I've heard those. I forget what it is though.
I'll say the A stands for alpha. Does that help?
I don't know. Tell me.
The AMOG stands for alpha male of the group, and AFOG stands for alpha female of the group.
Oh, okay.
And
female.
Yeah, and
okay.
And you'll see that the pickup
With
artists,
the Latinum.
pickup artists, they like gamifying anything. Like most of the people around this table have played D&D, so this is the thing where they classify people. So you can classify somebody as an AMOG or an AFOG, and then you know exactly how to treat them. And they have strategies to deal with alpha females and alpha males. What about a canned opener?
Oh, that would be just like a pickup line. Like, hey, did it hurt when you fell from heaven?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, that, pretty much. Yeah, that was a lot of the pickup artists in the early 70s. We'll talk about where pickup artistry originated, but a lot of the early stuff was a bunch of canned lines. And some of the articles I'll be posting will have links to just these books full of lines you should memorize and use on women. And often they're in forms of questions, so the people that you're interacting with are forced to answer.
Hey there, Spanish senorita. Sprechen Sie love. Howdy there, military mama. Ever seen guns like these before?
How many times do I have to tell you I have a boyfriend?
Well, you look like the kind of girl that could use two. How about you and me playing doctor?
And you are?
Johnny Bravo, MD. Want to take my pulse?
I am Lois, a mistress of the night.
And I am Johnny Bravo, a mister of the universe. A popular girl like you is gonna need some wooing.
I like the idea that someone wrote like a game winner's book of cheat codes for women.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't like it, but like,
it's a kind of a funny notion.
It's like an amusing thing to me.
Yeah, yeah. What about a close?
Oh, like the line that gets a woman to come home with you.
Almost.
Okay.
Coffees for closers.
What would be considered closing in pickup artistry?
Having sex.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
When they just say close, they mean having sex, but they can also put a thing in front of it, so they can say, I got a number close, or I got a date close, or I got a kiss close. It's basically, I'm accomplishing what I got.
So it's goal setting.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
What about IOI? I'll say the second I stands for interest.
Something of interest.
Item of
interest?
Oh, God. Item of interest. That's gross. No, come on.
The real answer isn't much better. Indicators of interest. So basically, there's a bunch of pop psychology, body language shit, and they put lists of what IOIs are. So
like brushing back the hair.
Yeah.
Or like crossing your legs towards someone that you're talking to.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
And it can be relied upon, but you have to be an expert. You have to have studied this stuff for years, because there's so many false positives and there's so many variables that just an average dude buying a body language book and trying to use it, it's not going to go well.
Yeah. I mean, body language is practically a field of study in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. False time constraint.
I've warmed up to this beer now that I've had half of it.
Yeah.
I think it's just because I've had enough beer that I don't care about my beer anymore.
It grows on you. So a false time constraint is a way to get around a creep factor for a woman. So,
I'm sorry, creep factor?
Yeah, that's what, and I know I'm using harsh terms here.
No, go ahead.
But I'm talking in the lingo that these guys do, because I'm going to try and engross you in it. False time constraint, they think that women will think they're a creep and will be uncomfortable unless they put a false time constraint. So they'll say something like, oh, hey, my buddies are over there. I have to get back to them real quick. But first, can I ask you a question? That would be an example of a false time constraint. Field report.
Well, that's just like high pressure sales tactics. I feel like there's a lot of overlap here, actually, the more that I'm hearing about it.
Yeah. Actually, we didn't end up getting someone, but I had someone that was a salesman that was willing to talk about the cross between pickup artistry and salesmanship and all that good stuff.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And basically a field report, how they communicate on these pickup artist forums is they'll give something called a field report. And that's basically, I went out last night, here's what happened, here's what I did wrong, here's what I did good, do you guys have any advice? So they kind of have little essays written up about what they did the night before and how it can improve. What about a hired gun?
Like a wingman?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. A hired gun is somebody who is paid to like you. So that would be a stripper, that would be a waitress, that would be anybody in a public service thing where you're not sure if they're actually into you or if they're just doing their job.
I see.
Chances are they're just doing their job.
Yeah. People leave people alone at work.
Yeah.
Even if they're genuinely interested, wait until after work because that's just awkward.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't wait till the end of their shift though. Like in the back alley, that's probably a really bad.
That's a
place
bad
to
first
start.
impression.
Yeah.
What about Keno?
Keno?
It's a delightful gambling game.
Is it like cinema? Or?
I've never played Keno.
I think it's a word they stole from another language. Basically, just touching. Keno is touching, and they use that word to not sound creepy. So when
that's
they say
just rebranding it for a new PR spin on touching.
So instead of saying like increasingly touch her more as the night goes on, they'll just say increased Keno as the night goes on.
How's that spelled? Kino or Keeno?
Kino. Okay. Neg. This is the one that's
negging.
We all know what negs are.
Yeah.
There's two types of neg.
You're fat. You're really you have a really pretty face.
For a fat chick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or saying things like, oh, your hair's really nice. Is it real? Like kind of that backhanded
compliment. Yeah. Ugh.
And really, they frame it as it brings her social status down to a point where you can work with it. But really, it's just making people feel bad enough that they are beaten down enough to interact with you.
In this video here, I'm going to be going over 4 different types of negs. So not only am I going to be giving you examples under every single column, but I'm going to be going in depth and just explaining, what different types of negs there are and in what instances you can use them. But it's basically being dismissive. It's basically, showing that you're a man, you're the one in demand. You're not the one chasing the girl. You're the one that's, the one that's wanted, and you're kind of just knocking her off her pedestal, being more dismissive, I guess is what you could say. So a shotgun neg. So a shotgun neg is to be used specifically in a group. Example for this is, wow, she poops words. I can smell her. Ew. And then continuing on. So anyway, what I was saying, throwing that at her, maybe doing a sarcastic eye roll like, oh my god, is she always like this? Jesus. So yeah, this is basically just to knock her off her pedestal. Another shotgun neg would be, where's her off button? That's huge. Mystery uses that all the time. So those are 2 examples on them. I'm sure you get the idea. Going into my next one here, sniper neg. So a sniper neg is just to be used like directly at the target, at the girl you're interested in, only in isolation. For example, you should blow your nose. You're not like punishing the girl for it. You're just kind of pointing something out that's unattractive about it. Oh, this is awesome. I said this one yesterday. When you open and you shake hands or you touch her hands for the first time, you say, oh, your palms are sweaty, or oh, your palms are clammy. Tease negs. This one's good. Tease negs are basically they're used to be in a group, but they're not so much the shotgun neg where it's just a pebble and throw. A tease neg you can kind of let sit and resonate longer. So for example, you can say you can dress her up, but you can't take her anywhere. Another one, the tease negs you can use your common sense. It's basically when you're teasing her. When you're teasing her, I talked about this a little bit yesterday. If you can put her in a group, are all French girls as greedy as you? If she kisses you twice on the cheek. Then you say, only one's enough, don't be greedy. And she'll say, oh, but I'm French. And you say, are all French girls this greedy? That can kind of be like a tease neg because you're kind of teasing her. And then straight up other just negs. I just have examples. Yeah, this one's good too. If she's older than you and says, you're so young, respond, yeah, I noticed. Poor you.
Triangular gazing.
What?
Okay, yep, nope, I see it. 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah, that's exactly it. So it's a way that they say seduces women because it makes a sparkle in your eyes, and this is one of their magic spells that they put out in pickup artist land. But basically, it's looking at her left eye, looking at her right eye, looking at her nose over and over again, and they say that that's going to make your eyes sparkle, and that's going to release her primal.
I'm doing that to you right now, Robot.
Oh no, I'm so
no.
I'm just looking at your eyes.
This is what I'm going to do for the rest of the night.
Oh boy. My tingles are getting
they
tangled.
say that if you make continuous eye contact for long enough, it stops being uncomfortable and starts being really cathartic.
Well, after a while, you're like your face will just blend into some like monster face,
and it honestly just kind of like, yeah.
You stop seeing a face and you start to just see like parts that aren't really a face.
Well, because your brain. You've been like focusing on the same thing for so long that your brain gets bored and stops paying attention to it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to speak in generalities about pickup. Now, pickup has a lot of different flavors, a lot of different practitioners, a lot of different styles, but in general, the focus is getting sex. There are some rare outliers that focus on building a healthy relationship after you get the sex, but for most pickup artists, the goal begins and ends at getting a woman to have sex with you. And of course, I'm going to be speaking about men and women because I don't think the thought of people that are non-binary or trans ever enters pickup artistry. It's very heteronormative, and they don't seem to have any lessons or strategies about interacting with trans or non-binary people. It seems that they're scared of them. They're totally transphobic about that.
I've never really seen a gay pickup artist.
Yeah.
I say as a gay man.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was just curious if there was any sort of women pickup artists. Like that
exactly
seems to be kind of the next continuation. Like, are there women pickup artists for, I guess, either men or women pickup artists for women?
Or is there a trans community?
I've never heard of a pickup artist for women to direct women to get laid, but I do know that there's a lot of women that go around in pickup artist circles and do guest speaking at pickup artist seminars for the men.
Hi, everyone. This is Arden Lee. I'm the author of The New Rules of Attraction, the founder of the Siren Seduction Forum for Women, and a notorious female pickup artist. Last week, an essay I wrote for exojane.com on how I became a female pickup artist became the subject of much controversy and rampant disgust. I had rather anticipated this to a certain extent, as I was essentially endorsing arguably the century's most so-called misogynist community in front of a mostly female readership, and I felt that both the boldness and vulnerability of opening myself up to that criticism was part of what would make the piece compelling. What bothered me was how much of my message was misconstrued, and how much of seduction as both a concept and practice is misconstrued. It bothered me how apparently off-mark I was in explaining my lifestyle and practices to my audience, to the point where my character was attacked on a personal level. I don't at all mind if people don't like me, but if they're going to dislike me, it should be at least for a reason that's true. And there are plenty. I am an incorrigible narcissist. I'm kind of self-obsessed. I'm ferociously strong-willed and stubborn. I'm a control freak. I am by nature impatient. I'm hypersexual. I am terribly materialistic. I'm devastatingly capricious. I'm occasionally sadistic. I'm ambitious to the point of antagonism, and I'm blatant in my means of seeking attention. Worst of all, perhaps, I talk about my flaws like they're brags because I think it's funny.
In pickup artist circles, sarging, it means to go out and go to bars. And sarging used to mean going out to bars and just doing that. In today's day and age, it's just as much going on dating apps and websites.
Oh yeah, it's like the whole Tinder thing and everything now.
Right. Yeah.
Why is it called sarging?
I'm not sure. Future Ood, find the source for that. Hey, Past Dude, I thought it was some military term, but when I look it up, it's named after the pet cat of Ross Jeffries, the pickup artist. So his cat's name was Sarge, so he coined the term sarging. And as you go through these, you see that a lot of these guys kind of cling on to toxic male ideals. Like, one of these guys literally named himself Tyler Durden.
Oh wow.
God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, he didn't get the irony of that character. Anyways.
But
that's
apparently
problematic.
Chuck wasn't all that different, though. There was an article I read where there was like, Chuck, how do you feel about your book Fight Club becoming like the model for the the incel or the this toxic male?
People
and
didn't really fucking get it, did they?
He was kind of okay with it, actually.
Really?
I don't know if maybe because it sells him more books or whatever, but I was kind of like, he seemed so smart when I read it, and then you
I
read
love
the
his other
interview
books.
and you're kind of like,
I'm disappointed.
I'm very disappointed. I thought you were smarter.
Yeah.
Well, it was one of his first books.
I don't know about smarter, but less ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
Pickup artists generally believe in strong gender roles, so they believe that women want strong-willed, dominant men who are full of muscle, who can protect them and their offspring, and men want meek, submissive women who cave for them and their children. Sorry, care for them and their children.
Both, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, there's, like I said, there's a lot of different styles, but I guess some things that are similar that pickup artistry teaches. I'm going to say PUA for now on, just shorten it. How to approach, how to build attraction, how to seduce, how to work around and change no's into yeses, and handling any obstacles. These days, they exist in meetup groups. If you look on your city's meetup page, you might find a pickup artist group there. They meet on forums, blogs, and many online and offline classes and seminars.
I think there might be one for Saskatoon on meetup.com.
Yeah, could be.
Let's check it out.
Feel free to interject when you come out.
I will. I always do.
So pickup artistry has existed since the early 70s, arguably the early 60s, but really came into popular culture with a little book called The Game, written by Neil Strauss.
Yes.
Now, Neil Strauss was honestly a fantastic journalist. He was really known for getting in-depth, and he did fantastic character pieces on different subcultures and different people. And he was known for getting his hands dirty. If he was doing a report on somebody, he would live with them for a while and really get a feel for them. He loved to be ingrained in the culture. So when he got an assignment to write about the pickup artist community, he did the same thing. And he found an identity within that community, and he eventually became a pickup artist himself. Before that, the first arguable pickup artist thing was in 1710 with a pamphlet on wooing ladies. So,
I can't find anything in Saskatoon for pickup artists or PUA.
That's good.
All right, well, that's good. Good for you, Saskatoon.
Yeah. Way to go, Saskatoon.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. So
you managed not to be the lowest, fucking possible.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so this goes back to 1710 with pamphlets on wooing ladies.
1710.
Also, it's kind of always been a thing, though. Yeah. Maybe just less codified than it is more presently.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, there's always been
that mindset.
Oh, yeah, there's always people who are sexually frustrated and those willing to exploit that.
Mm-hmm.
Those pamphlets have the advice to keep conversation on topics that are tame, but to say something to rouse the passions every half hour or so.
Like how? Like clitoris.
Oh, yes. Nice weather we're having.
I'm sorry, I think you mean ankles.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, as you can see from our discussion here, I'm quite the cunning linguist.
Yes.
I saw Lady Mary Beth down by the river the other day, and her shins were out in the air for all to see. My word.
I saw her clavicle.
My.
Crazy thing about King George challenging the French crown? Do you want to touch my penis?
Her dress was so low cut, I could see her neck.
I'm going to get my husband to use those lines on me.
I think courtship back in those days might have been paying the father, though.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fair.
So this really became a phenomenon in the 1970s. In the 60s, there was a sexual revolution because birth control and sexual identity became major issues where people were going and expressing themselves sexually in ways that have never been done before in society. So a sexual awakening occurred in the 60s.
Birth control.
Oh, yeah. And
IUDs for life.
Yeah.
And of course, that sexual awakening in the 70s came the awakening of people who realized they were extremely sexually frustrated and wanted to get over it. So there was a market created to exploit these people. In 1970, the book How to Pick Up Girls by Eric Weber sold 3 million copies.
Girls? Like 12-year-olds?
Oh, yes.
No.
And was republished in 20 languages.
Wow.
Gross. That's gross.
Okay.
Wow.
So these
girls,
these first three readings, these first three readings are from that book. So I'm
ready.
The first quote is explaining why women need excitement.
Women are fragile creatures. If they're not dating, they get terribly lonely and depressed. They don't have exciting jobs and golf and tennis and football to keep them busy all day.
It's so much more distressing hearing it in your voice.
Yeah, the second the second quote is about how women dress to actually stimulate you.
What?
Why do you think women parade around in skirts hardly a millimeter below their private parts? Wow.
A millimeter.
A millimeter. Wow.
That's some real shorts. It's like a belt.
Like, do you measure that? Like, do you run up with like a ruler or a tape
Excuse me, miss.
Excuse me, miss.
Excuse me.
Ma'am, I'm with the government census. I need to test your skirt, please.
I mean, 1970 was before those handy laser apps that measured it for you, so you'd have to use a ruler.
Yeah.
Why do you think so many of them have completely stopped wearing bras and panties? Just to look pretty? Don't be crazy. They're showing you their breasts and behinds to stimulate you. Stimulate is in italics here.
Oh. It's
stimulate.
They're super uncomfortable, right?
Okay, let me clear something up. Yep. Women don't dress hot for men. They dress hot so that they can look at themselves when they walk past windows.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
And also, sometimes it's fucking hot out.
Yeah, and also sometimes it's fucking hot out.
I mean, like, even as a man, I can appreciate that, like, you dress to look nicely. It's like a weird, like, for other people, but for yourself.
Yeah,
right?
like, I...
Because it's just nice to fucking look nice.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, exactly.
It gives you a good solid base to face the world from.
Also, like, wearing high heels and walking on, like, a hard floor, like, turns myself on.
Oh,
And the third reading...
I couldn't do heels.
I love heels. I wear heels.
I would break my ankles. And the third reading about how it's a man's privilege to approach women.
Ugh.
All right, hold on. I gotta get into personality here.
Not your sweet, regular, like, decent personality.
No, this is the actual true uncut robot. Now,
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
You think that I'm, like, nice and kind-hearted, but actually I'm a total dickhole.
Remember, and thus she says affirmative. It doesn't.
So look, I'm just saying, whether you know it or not, you already have one great thing growing for you when it comes to picking up chicks, and that is you're a man. As a man, it's your right, your privilege to approach a woman at any time that you want. But women, they gotta sit there and wait. Now, even with women's lib coming into its own, it's gonna be a long time before the average chick can approach a strange man without feeling like a whore.
What? I hated that. I hated every second of you saying that.
Dude, can I borrow your shower now, please?
Yes.
Sure, I just got some new soap. It smells like apricots.
I hope it's full of lye. I need to burn this off.
Does it exfoliate?
Yeah, so that was the first major book in pickup artistry. That was the entry point in 1970. But like I said, it didn't blow up until the game came out with Neil Strauss. And in that book, he dives into the world of pickup artists and he basically brings them to the public eye. And the game is basically him following around this pickup artist named Mystery, who we'll talk about later.
Mystery.
And he also had guest appearances from all the big name pickup artists of that time, such as Tyler Durden.
That guy that wears a stupid hat.
No, that's all of them.
Jamiroquai.
Yeah, the Jamiroquai hat.
Yeah.
Which guy is that?
Jamiroquai.
I don't know. They all blend together.
I think it's Jamiroquai.
No. Okay, that's the band.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm going to Google it.
Yeah, so the game is a classic fish out of water story, and he studies various masters of the craft of pickup artistry. And in the end, Neil Strauss becomes a pickup artist himself, and he renames himself Style. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You'll see that all these guys have dorky nicknames.
Hey, my name's Style.
That like makes my like vagina like start to fuse shut.
It makes the
like,
Windows 95 shutdown noise.
Yeah,
you know?
my vagina just made the Windows 95 shutdown noise.
Hey ladies, my name's Style. I'm here to alleviate you of your panties.
In 2015, Neil Strauss published a new book. So,
hallelujah.
In 2005, he published the game, and in 2015, he published something called The Truth. So the game ends with Neil falling in love with a guitarist and falling out of the pickup game. That relationship died, and future relationships of his continue to die. And he found out that being in the pickup artist community for so long had actually psychologically damaged him. He said he had a pathological addiction to the thrill of the chase, and he was getting addicted to sex and human interaction in the pickup community. And in The Truth, he describes how he had to relearn that women are people. He had to relearn that women aren't just a collection of attributes and stats from the pickup artist community.
Hey, Candace.
Hi, Neil. How are you?
Hey, good.
So can you tell us about your book, The Truth, and what inspired you to write it?
Yeah, I guess what inspired me to write it was like the complete failure and dysfunction of all my relationships, that they all didn't work. I got in a relationship with someone awesome. I cheated on her, really, really hurt her, really broke her heart, destroyed the future that I hoped I would have with her, and started really soul searching about, well, if I'm a nice guy, as I really did think I was before that, why would I do that to somebody? Why would I hurt them? Why would I just break trust, my own values, my commitment to someone? Like, what kind of person does that, and why did they do that? And when that person's you really realize something's wrong and you need to figure it out.
Well, I could definitely see how being a part of the pickup community would be like intoxicating. Like, you have a group of support from your peers, and you have like solid ways of rating partners. And there's different strategies, and you can talk about them and get new ideas. Like,
and
I can
just like also have a really concrete way of gauging your success.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I can totally see how that would be appealing.
You just end up in like an echo chamber, where it's like you say one thing and everyone says it back, and you're like, yeah, you've affirmed my beliefs, my opinions, my thoughts.
Well, and also like they're willing to take the time to give a shit about
and that's respectful. I won't
I
don't know if I'm necessarily ready to absolve him of like his past sins or whatever. Like,
no, of course not. But I can see
taking steps to all that. But as someone who has really fallen into some unhealthy negative feedback loops, nothing like this, obviously, but the brain naturally craves the endorphins and the dopamine that are naturally created just from the the success feedback loops that we create in our lives. I can definitely see how easy it would be, especially in a situation like this, for the average person to fall into that negative feedback loop when you're surrounded by the wrong people.
Yeah. And I used to be a part of this community. I used to read the books and follow the teachings and do the exercises and go out and surge and all that. And I know the feeling of relearning to see women as people again. And because before they were just obstacles to overcome and they were points to win. And seeing them as living, breathing people with opinions and shit like that, like even for me, that took a while to relearn. So I empathize with Neil Strauss to a point.
I can't imagine you being in part of those, in that community.
Knowing you now, I can't really imagine.
I mean, it's been night and day. I don't know. I wouldn't even recognize myself. So
I mean, I guess I don't really know you in a sexual or romantic context, but.
Fair enough. And the man that Neil Strauss followed around, Eric von Markovich, a.k.a. Mystery, because everybody has to have a dorky nickname. He's arguably the best-known pickup artist in the game. He actually had 2 seasons of a reality TV show.
That's the guy I'm thinking of with the Jamiroquai hat.
No shit.
Last season on The Pickup Artist.
I just feel so out of my comfort zone when I approach a girl. I don't approach girls.
A man named Mystery took 8 lovable losers.
I'm petrified of trying to go up to a woman.
And turn them into Casanovas.
I get it, I know what's going on. I'm like Neo from The Matrix. I am the one.
Now, he's back.
I am Mystery.
Hi. I'm gonna give you a hug, but don't expect much of a great conversation. Your friend and I like each other. Are you right with that?
You're so sweet. Oh, thank you.
Say hi, be nice. We're surrounded by love tonight.
Let the game begin.
And this time around, the challenge is even bigger.
I am a 28-year-old virgin. My life has been rather sheltered. I've never really learned how to socialize in the sense of just going out. But I played a game of Spin the Bottle. That was actually my first kiss.
Yeah, and you probably know him. He's a tall, skinny white guy, and his thing is extreme peacocking. So he wears a bunch of shit on him in order to gain attention at the bar. Yeah, that's another different.
He's Canadian.
Oh yes, actually, a lot of these pickup artists are Canadian, Yeah, it's weird. In every elite group of people, no matter what community, there's a few Canadians in there. I don't know what that says. But anyway, he teaches something called...
That hat. Look at it.
Oh, yeah.
I know the hat.
It's the Jamiroquai hat.
I've seen the Jamiroquai hat.
So he teaches something called the mystery method. Or in his, I guess, pseudo-intellectual terms, he called them the Venusian arts. Yeah, so his thing is there's two things in life that you have to do. You have to, 1, survive, and 2, replicate.
Ugh.
Disagree.
So he taught...
Yeah, disagree.
In order to survive, you
Says
have to
the
learn...
mom.
Yeah, in order to survive, you have to learn martial arts.
What?
And in all...
That's fucking radical.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't want to die, you better start taking some fucking judo, taekwondo, and Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
I'm like dying. That's hilarious.
The jiu-jitsu is key, because if you're on the ground, you got to be a shark.
You need to
on
play
the
like
ground.
the Mortal Kombat theme. Dun, 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 dun.
If you're not an MMA fighter, you're fucking dead, kid.
And
says like you like put pictures up of this guy because
oh yeah,
wow,
Don't
it
worry.
is not cute.
Don't worry, there'll be a lot. And the second one is to replicate. And in order to replicate, you have to learn the Venusian arts.
Venusian,
as in Venus, the god of sex.
Which is how to manipulate women 101.
Goddess of sex.
Now,
if you're proper.
In his day, this guy was making bank.
Yeah.
Now, if you watch his videos on YouTube, he often has classes of 20 or more students. In his prime, here are the prices for his seminars. For a 2-hour seminar, $250. For a
wow.
For a 4-hour seminar, $400. Oh, you save $100 there. For a 3-day seminar, 3 full days, $3,500. And if you want to learn the Venusian arts for a full week with mystery, it will cost you $8,500.
Wow.
And he was fully booked and teaching these courses for years.
That is lucrative.
Oh, yeah.
You packed so many stems, dude. That's just like a full-on stem.
Oh.
Yeah, it was kind of harsh.
I apparently I ordered the super shitty already ground up weed from my provider, so I have to give them a phone call tomorrow.
Man, I'm so excited. It's like 2 weeks from now and we can just go to the LC and pick it up.
Oh, that's exciting.
I can't wait till I can go to the
exciting.
corner store and I can like smell it before I order it. Oh. Yeah, so basically his
should have ordered with us, Ood.
Yeah. His attraction method is 3 stages of attraction, 3 stages of comfort, and 3 stages of seduction, also known as A1, A2, A3, C1, C2, C3, and S1, S2, S3. So A1 is open up a set. A2 is female to male interest, so you want to make her express interest to you. A3 is male to female interest. You give a little of that back. C1 is the first of the comfort stage, so conversation. So you share in friendly dialogue and you share a little bit. C2 is connection. So both parties vibe. This is the stage where kissing usually occurs and kino escalation occurs.
Kino escalation?
C3 is intimacy. So the third step in comfort. Pick a seduction location and heavily make out, and this is the stage where you eventually move into the bedroom in the intimacy stage. The seduction stage, S1, S2, S3. So S1 is foreplay. Begin the escalation towards sex. S2 is LMR. So this one has an entire step for last minute resistance.
Oh, God.
And mystery teaches this thing called the ice out.
The next one is what we call a freeze out. Okay? Now it's called a freeze out, and you're going to be very familiar with it because you have done 8 to 12 of them. Every time in kino escalation, when you make a move and then she feels a little uncomfortable, you turn off, become normal again, right? What you've done is a freeze out. Either you turn off, become normal, and do normal comfort building material, or you turn off, be normal, don't be angry, just be normal, and have nothing to say. Be boring. So a freeze out at this point, imagine being in bed with her. She's aroused, okay? And, you know, you've done the we should stop thing, but she says, babe, we shouldn't do this. Okay, let's stop. Okay, we can't do this. All you have to do is say, I understand. And stop. Get up, blow the candle out, turn the light back on, walk over to the computer, check your email. You know? Doesn't she feel pissed? Have you ever had that? Ever been in bed with a girl and she stops? and you try to keep going, what she's saying is that she wants to stop is she doesn't want to have sex. She doesn't want to deal with the last minute resistance issue. But she certainly still is enjoying making out with you. Her brain is rewarding her still for being with a man. She just has the last minute resistance fears, right? Which is triggered. Every woman has this triggered. Don't take it personally. So the way you deal with this is you simply say, babe, everything's fine. No worries. Get up. Check email. Do something normal. Turn the TV on. Let's just hang out. It's all good. The minute she says no, no means no. And she's going to suffer for it. Okay? Not by punching her, not by getting angry at her, just by going, I understand. That's the answer when she, for doing these freeze outs. When she says stop or she says no, you just say, I understand. No worries. Very matter-of-factly, as if she turned off your sex drive. Then you walk over to the TV, turn it on, and you watch infant brain surgery on the Learning Channel. Back to normal talk. In other words, here she is lying in bed aroused. She just didn't want to deal with the last minute resistance. It was, this 10,000 unread. I don't want to deal with that. Then, of course, you can touch your leg, and you start going back into it, and you say, take your top off. Because the top she wouldn't take off before, you just say, take her top off. The top comes off, finally. You start going for the bra again. You make out with her some more. Then you pause. I love doing this. You make out with her, and then you get up, stop. And she's like, what's wrong? You say, just getting the light. Turn the light off. Light the candle. You're making out with her. Next thing you know, you take your dick out, put her hand on it. She starts stroking it. It's all good. And you say, go down on me. And she does. Beautiful. Oh, and everything's fine. Sometimes you get LMR. We should stop. This is how it usually starts. If not, you get your freeze outs. Freeze outs, the bad news for us is it takes a good 15 minutes to get through it. All right? You're going to do it 3 times. That first time, you then come back. You're making out with her again. Tell her, take off your top. The one thing that she stopped at is the one thing you're going to tell her to get past.
So basically, you're getting all hot and heavy. You're making out. You're feeling good. If she puts any negative spin on what's happening or expresses any denial about what you're doing, he teaches to completely stop touching her, get off, and pretty much ignore her. Give her a cold shoulder immediately.
Cool. They had me until if she expresses that she wants to stop, then stop. I was like, hooray!
Until the point where it's and then be shitty.
And then be
her.
shitty. Yeah, like to shame her basically into being like, well, okay, I guess you can have
fine,
sex.
Fuck you. I guess you don't want to do this.
And he actually teaches that once they see how it's not as exciting when you're not kissing, they'll go right back into it, and then they'll get into it.
It's just saying you're not valuable to me unless you're having sex with me.
That's gross.
And S3 is sex. And it's necessary to have sexual intercourse several times in order to ensure a sexual relationship. So he wants you to have sex several times in order to use all the potential that woman has.
Oh God.
Yes.
Wow.
So this is the 4th reading. It's a long one, but this is a classic run through the mystery method, how it should occur.
All right, here we go.
My dad listens to this podcast. I'm sorry you're listening to this right now.
So does my dad. Sorry, Dad. Here we go. A Venusian artist with tight game approaches a set of people in a bar using an indirect opener. He doesn't seem needy or interested in the target, and in fact comes across as though he's just leaving. He then demonstrates higher value to the set and crosses the social hook point, the point at which they accept him. That was A1. A2. He continues to convey his personality using stories, humor, patterns, games, routines, palm reading.
Oh, yeah. He's a big fan of magic tricks, too.
Poetry, etc.
Yeah.
This combined...
You know what? I can absolutely understand palm reading being a big thing in the pickup artist community.
Well, you get to touch.
It gives you a chance to take someone's hand to touch and then, ask weird questions and get weird answers.
Yeah. And, continue to hold their hand and touch them.
That's a pretty intimate thing if they take it seriously.
And they talk about it in that language. They say you want her to become accustomed to your touch, so palm reading is a good way to do that. That's the way they word it.
This, combined with his apparent lack of interest in the target, raises his social value relative to hers and intensifies her emotional state.
Yeah, so this is A2, female to male interest.
Yeah.
It's so clinical.
Yep. She begins to give him indicators of interest.
Ooh.
All right, so we have A3/C1. He uses takeaways to bait her into chasing after him to earn his affections. As she becomes more invested in the interaction, he rewards her with indications of interest. Then he moves her to a quiet area of the bar to begin building comfort.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah, and building comfort is the whole like Kino escalation, getting her accustomed to your touch.
Kino escalation.
Yeah.
C2 and C3. With a bounce to Mel's Diner and a time bridge for sushi the next day.
I'm sorry, does everybody just have a Mel's Diner?
Yes,
Just
clearly.
brought all these like memories
Of Mel's Diner?
on the 11th here.
It makes. He builds comfort, connection, and trust over a cumulative 7-hour period.
Jesus.
At some point during C2, they begin kissing. They eventually bounce to his apartment. If someone ever tells me that they want to bounce to their apartment, I am immediately getting out of that situation.
Hey, girl, you want to go Netflix and chill?
Only if I can sleep.
You want a Funimation and smoke some weed?
Oh, hell yeah.
I would. See, S1, S2, and S3. Finally, he moves her into his bedroom, begins foreplay, overcomes any last-minute resistance, and has sex with her.
Wow.
That was literally like a sentence.
Yeah.
A sentence.
Just in there, just overcomes any resistance.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they have very like limited views on why last minute resistance exists. Like they think, okay, all women like sex, but they don't want to be sluts, so you have to convince them to let them want to have sex.
Oh my god.
I like how casually that's put there. Like, yeah, you put out the pan, you heat it up, you put in the oil, you fry the eggs.
Yeah. Like that's not how it works.
Yeah, and that's part of the thing that's creepy is they're taking real experiences that can build emotions and build memories and like can mean a lot to people, and they're just gamifying it and making it into just almost meaningless dribble. And they don't really have any contingency plans that like, okay, you find somebody you like, you stay with them. It's all about moving to the next one.
And I think that's like the most dangerous part of the feedback loop is the fact that there's this whole community behind you, like egging this on, providing these objectives and supporting you as you go along.
Exactly.
Yeah. So another person is Robert Greene, known as the art of seduction. He also wrote the 48 Laws of Power. He does his seduction by saying that you have to find your inner seductive personality, and then you have to find out what type of victim you have to do it. And that's
victim?
That's how it's worded. That's how it's worded. So these are pretty straightforward. You can probably guess what represents, but it's all about finding your identity as a seducer and then finding your ideal victim type.
Okay, gross, but I want to do that.
Yeah. Let's do a thought experiment here where we just assume that all of this is extremely rational.
Okay.
So you can.
I don't like it. I don't enjoy it.
So there are 10 types of inner seductive personalities. There's the siren, the rake, the ideal lover, the dandy, the natural, the coquette, the charmer, the charismatic, the star, and the anti-seducer.
Tag yourself. I'm the coquette.
I know what the coquette is, I think.
I think I'm a rake because I can pick up a lot of leaves.
I know from Jeopardy that a rake
Like
is
Jeopardy.
an immoral pleasure seeker.
Yeah.
I've used that term to describe me before, maybe not in this context.
Yeah.
Didn't that Jennings guy? What was his name? Was it Jennings?
It was Ken Jennings.
Ken Jennings.
What is a
and
hoe?
what is a hoe? Yeah.
Yeah, and basically what happens is you read through all these, you find one or two you identify with, and then in these it has, these are your ideal victims, these are the women you should go for, and these are the victim types, and there's 18 of them.
Christ almighty.
Oh yeah, the reformed siren and rake, the disappointed dreamer, the pampered royal, the new prude, the crushed star, the novice, the conqueror, the exotic fetishist, the drama queen, the professor, the beauty, the aging baby, the feminist, the rogue, the ideal worshipper, the sensationalist, the lonely leader, and the floating gender. And basically he says that if you find your internal seductive personality and you know what victims you want to go for, and again, that's how he words it, victims.
Victims. That's disgusting.
Yeah, you will be able to easily seduce...
Spit on the nose.
Yeah, you'll be able to easily seduce your victim. And he goes through a very basic thing of stirring interest, lead array with pleasure and confusion. So basically turn, I guess, be seductive for a while, then turn it off, be seductive for a while, turn it off. He encourages confusion and leaving them guessing. Deepen feelings by extreme measures. And in the book, he says, like, make grand proclamations, make promises, all that stuff, say whatever you need to. And then step 4, and again, this is how he words it in the book, move in for the kill.
Have you guys ever watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
I did not realize that the dentist system was so on the nose.
Yeah.
Because that is shocking, actually. They clearly knew what they were doing.
Yeah. So Robert King is a London pickup artist, and his nickname is Kingy.
Kingy?
Yeah.
I would never have sex with someone named Kingy.
Yeah.
Kingy?
That's a weird name.
Kingy? Yeah.
Kingy?
Give it to me, Kingy.
Oh.
Thanks, Richard.
He teaches something called authentic natural game. He teaches classes where basically he uses exposure therapy. So he hires women to come in, and he basically gets these shy, socially awkward guys to constantly talk to these women until they're not scared anymore, and breaks down their fears, and then goes on to give them horrible advice.
The first step sounds
okay.
Yeah. As long as, like, the women are on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if
That's
you're like,
cool.
yeah, I'd love to help men be more confident.
Yeah.
I'm in for that.
And you'll find throughout this that that pickup artists do something that, like, Dr. Oz also does. They put honestly good advice and good tips right next to dangerous bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the most dangerous kind of advice.
Right.
So his acronym is VOACS, spelled VOAQCS. And they stand for Value, Opener, Attraction, Qualify, Confidence, and Shag.
DENNIS.
Yeah, so value. So for value, you increase your social value. So that's the idea. That's the idea within the pickup artist community, that you should seem like a big shot in whatever room you're in, and you have to show that you're rich and powerful and you're a leader of men, and all women want you and all men want to be you. All that shit. Use an opener. He is a fan of canned openers, and he actually has like a bunch of flip cards you can bring where you can memorize all the openers. Attraction. Keno, build attraction, same old shit. Qualify. So that's the Q. Act superior. So act like you're too good for whoever you're talking to.
Ugh.
Confidence. Do not get insecure. So do not let yourself get vulnerable. Do not let yourself get insecure in front of a woman.
Right.
And then shag is, of course, sex.
I don't think confidence is about a lack of vulnerability.
No.
Yeah.
It's about self-assuredness.
Right.
Yeah. And here's one that I'm happy to talk about. Derry Roosh Vazdila, also known as Roosh V. He owns and runs the Return of Kings website, which, as of 2 days ago, is no more.
It is gone.
He put this feeling sorry for himself essay saying nobody pays attention to me anymore.
My revenues are down. No one wants to pay for my ad space on my website.
Blue.
Yeah. And he has very antiquated beliefs. He believes in something called neo-masculinity. So basically very traditional beliefs in like caveman-like mentalities. So you have to act like an angry caveman because that's what a woman inside really wants. She wants an aggressive, strong, assertive male that will protect her from other males and raise her children. He also
They'll give her children. They won't raise her children.
Yeah,
the woman is in charge of raising her children.
Yeah, give her children.
Yes.
And he's very obsessed with what is and what isn't masculine, and he constantly talks about like how society, men aren't men anymore, and like, oh, and they used to wear suit jackets and carry briefcases, and now they sing on YouTube and have doggy filters, and oh, it's the degradation of society, oh no.
Dogs are boys and cats are girls.
Yeah. And he became most famous when he proposed a way to stop rape.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I know you know. Did you guys know what his solution was?
I don't think I've heard this.
It's gross. It's gross. Prepare for the meltdown.
Oh, I bet it means
so
having
excited to
sex
hear it.
with, having sex with guys. Like women need to have sex with guys. I bet it's that. I've never heard of this, but I bet it's that.
He wants to solve rape by legalizing it.
Yep.
I recently published a proposal called How to Stop Rape. And that suggests that if we legalize rape, women will be more careful with their bodies and not go into the private rooms of men that they don't want to have sex with. You would think that any idea or proposal that would decrease the amount of harm to women and decrease the number of rape would be welcomed by everyone. I mean, who doesn't want to decrease rape? Well, apparently everyone, because the rage that I got from the article was intense. There were stories in Raw Story, in Exo Jane, in The Mirror. I received hundreds of angry comments on Twitter. You can go see the comments on the original article. They're still frothing over it. If my intention was to decrease harm to women, and I provided, I believe, the arguments that show how legalizing rape would definitely decrease the rapes that we are seeing, including the fake rape of when the girl felt regret the next day. Why would they be against this? Why wouldn't they want less women to be raped? I'm not saying legalize rape so more men can rape. I'm saying legalize rape so less women would be raped. Let's sign off on this and make legislation which would legalize rape in a private room, which would now require a woman not to self-drug herself with alcohol so much that she's unable to judge a man's worth, where she is unable to know if she wants to have sex with a man or not before entering a private room.
Here's the justification.
I don't even know. I don't even know what to say to that.
Now, this is a paraphrase, but I swear it's an accurate paraphrase.
That's like driving down crime rates by legalizing murder.
Yeah. The quote is...
Actually, I would almost prefer that.
So the justification behind this is women will protect themselves better and will never be accompanied by strange men she doesn't trust. So basically, if you make rape legal, women will protect themselves better and rape will go down.
Now, of course, murder isn't a problem because someday the robots will overthrow humanity and cut all of you down to the ash and the earth.
I, for one, welcome our robot overlords.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You'll be the last against the wall.
Thanks. The wall. The anarchists.
Yeah. And of course, he also puts other thing. He puts out other articles. These are just some articles that were on the website. I was able to screenshot them before it went down, but basically, here's a sample. Don't let a girl assert her frame over you. Now, that's a fancy way of saying don't let a woman have an opinion that's right. Yeah. Basically, if she has an idea about reality and has an idea about how things are, you can't let her express that over you. Well, because that's her asserting her frame over you.
Well, bro, I mean, they should just agree with whatever you say.
Well, yeah, you're the man.
You know, you're the man. You know what's right. You know, they don't know anything. So it's best if they just defer to your judgment in all things. It makes life so much easier for them.
Oh, yeah. Ugh. Another one was don't follow a woman's lead. And the basics of this article is if she suggests something like, hey, let's go here, let's do this, reject it. You're the leader. You decide where you go. So if she suggests something, no matter what it is, that's a rejection. You have to shoot her down because
pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, he also has an article says women have been tricked into living like men. What he refers to is women joining the workforce, owning property, and voting.
Wearing pants.
That's why I burned all my wife's jeans.
Yeah. One of the worst articles I read was making women submit to your lifestyle. So it basically encourages no matter what she wants, no matter what goals she has, where she wants to live, what she wants her house to be like, what she wants her life to be like, you're the one that decides how it actually is.
Much like my couch or my television.
Yeah. Ugh. And of course, Roosh V has a bunch of allegations of being a sexual assaulter and doing all kinds of things.
You don't say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it turns out these guys that teach other men how to sexually assault women are sexual assaulters themselves.
Wow.
Another one, Jonathan Lee, a.k.a. Jonathan Sins, with 2 N's and a Z.
Oh, gross.
Oh, yeah. He teaches the Love Systems Boot Camp. Now, these are fucking expensive. So
how expensive?
For the 3-day course, and these are still being taught and going on, so these are current prices. So for the 3-day course, it's $2,997.
Oh, wow.
Wowie, wow.
For the 10-day course, it's $22,800.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Holy crap. That's like more than lots of people make in a year.
That's a degree.
Yeah, that is a degree.
And
almost.
I actually have I actually have the itinerary for the 10-day seminar. So day 1, you learn about masculinity and passion. So the overarching themes of masculinity and living a passionate life. And then you're taught how to approach women in a manner that exudes confidence, comfort, and it includes exercises with real live women.
Exercises with real live women.
Oh, yeah. Day 2, the simplified natural model. So this core model for simplified natural curriculum is unveiled, and the natural model has no canned lines. They basically discourage against using canned lines, but instead going with a theme and talking to people. So they think that this is a natural approach because we're telling you to go in with a theme in mind instead of an actual
Harry
canned
Potter?
thought. Yeah.
That would work on me.
Oh, yeah. Day 3, fun and flirtatious conversations. The students are taught how to develop naturally free-flowing, fun and flirtatious conversation.
How would you teach that?
On day 3, they also end off the day with teaching students how to take a conversation in a sexual direction that isn't creepy. So how to turn the conversation sexual without seeming like a creep about it.
Well, that's what she said.
Oh, yeah.
That's always worked for me.
Oh, yeah. On day 4, you learn warm, passionate conversations, how to build that comfort. You're also taught texting games, how to text in a way that'll keep them texting you back. And you also go take a course to learn what a successful date looks like. So I guess a successful date is one where you close at the end? No. Day 5, inner game. So students are taken on a guided journey of their internal processes, thoughts, and limitations. Honestly, I think if things like this were taught responsibly, it might do some good, but this is in the middle of a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Day 6, they learn same night lays. So basically how to meet a woman and sleep with her on the same night that you meet her. And the seminar builds upon simplified natural concepts of creating an environment of real chemistry and real attraction rather than tricking a woman into bed.
You know, it's exactly like what we were just talking about, where there's a mix of good advice right next to the worst possible advice, which I think is the most dangerous possible kind of advice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Day 7 is relationships. Now, they could teach how to build healthy relationships, but instead here they're taught how to build highly emotional, intense, and dramatic relationships because that passion keeps the woman around.
Why would you want a relationship like that?
I don't know. Day 8, day games. How to approach women in a daytime setting such as the grocery store and stuff like that. So not even in the daytime you're not safe.
Gosh, I wonder why I'm never happy in my relationships.
Yeah. Day 9. This is the official day out and night out. So after 8 days of training, you spend an entire day out and an entire night out approaching real, live, wild women and seeing how you apply the things you learn.
Women in the wild.
Oh, yes. And on day 10, they finish off with lifestyle, fitness, and health. So how to improve all those things.
Sure.
So learning that costs $22,800.
That's intense.
Julian Blanc is another one. He has no fancy nickname. He just goes by his own name. But he created the Pimp video series.
Ew.
Oh, he's Swedish. Yeah, I generally love the Swedes, but not
Me
him.
too.
Yeah. Basically, Pimp teaches female psychology. He teaches that men are logical and women are emotional. that whole like, oh, let's reduce this to absurdity. He teaches that women love sex, but you have to convince them to have sex because they don't want to be a slut. He teaches something.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, yes. He teaches you have to fuck women as soon as possible to lock them in because in a female's mind, if you have sex early, that must mean you love him. So the earlier you have sex, the more you love him. And that's
a lie.
Yeah, that tricks a woman to staying around. He also teaches change her mood, not her mind. So even though she says no, try changing her mood and ask again. And attraction equals survival and reproduction potential. Period.
Oh my God.
So this guy, Julian Blanc, has had his visas revoked in Australia, UK, Singapore, and Japan. Now why? Because he released a video, like he released his own video where he was giving himself off, where he was walking around in Japan, doing things to Japanese women. He was grabbing them by the hair, like on the back of the head, and pulling them towards his crotch.
Oh my God!
Wow.
He was picking them up and just throwing them over his shoulder, walking off. He was choking them. He was groping them. And in another video where he taught a seminar in Japan on the same days that these happened, it kind of gives a justification for why he did these things. So he says in the presentation, if you are white in Japan, you can do whatever you want with the women.
And then if you go to at least Tokyo, the whole game over there is game. That's it. It's like I've never been more like people are like, if you go to Japanese girls, you got to be very, very nice, very, very empathetic. Why? Because usually if you go up, at least here, if you're like, hey, what do? Like run out. But at least in Tokyo, if you're a white male, you can do what you want. And that's what I realized. I got there the first night. He's like, dude, just grab her. I'm like, just grab her, but she's Japanese. Like, mate, grab her. So I'm just like, and I pull her in. And she kind of like laughs and giggles. And all you have to say to kind of like take the pressure off is just yell Pikachu or Pokemon or Tamagotchi or something. So that was the room I opened. I'm like, Pikachu, 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 like that. So romping through the streets, just like grabbing girls. And my opens like head on dick. Head on dick, yelling Pikachu with a Pikachu shirt. And it was ridiculous. I have the infield of this. It's awesome. And then like even going up to groups and like one by one, 2 at a time. And it's the happiest I've ever been. Yeah. But it's awesome. It's the shit. And then the last thing I would just add on to Tokyo is the accent. Like for them, and it sounds a little bad, but this is actually the only way they understand you. Like if I go to a taxi and I'm like, taxi, they're like, what? You have to say, taxi, and then they'll understand you. So you start actually dreaming in this. I'm like, oh, Tokyo Sonu, Sensei, Pikachu. And they're like, that's your game. And then you're like, love a hotelu. And it's like this thing called a love hotel. And you bring them in, it's these themed rooms for sex where there's like a dungeon and whips and shit. So I was in paradise because usually I just pull out my own belts, but they had everything else. So it was awesome. It's the shit. It was the shit. So that's Tokyo. Yeah.
So he was basically saying that Japanese women fetishize white men so much that you can go up to any woman in Japan and do whatever you want to her.
That's disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Then I
Cool,
think
cool,
of like
cool.
the converse or whatever, where it's like, the white basement dwelling, kid, teenager, whatever, fetishizing anime and Japanese culture. Like it seems like that's the two kind of are intended to go hand in hand, or rather he's playing off of this Japanese fetishization.
I guess he's kind of playing to his audience, because I guess somebody who would sexualize somebody's culture and sexualize somebody's like ethnicity would be the same kind of people who would like pay to learn this bullshit. Mm-hmm. Another quote from the seminar is, treat women how you don't want to be treated.
Oh.
So like the opposite of the golden rule. So basically if you don't want to be treated a certain way, treat women like that, because
they love it.
Yeah, they secretly like it. Another thing that gave him a lot of kraut is he was caught using this flow chart. So this flow chart had all the signs of abuse in a relationship. So emotional abuse, physical abuse, and all that. On Twitter, he put this, and in his seminars, he put this, where he has said things as, this may as well be a checklist. And he added the hashtag, how to make her stay. So he was saying all the emotional abuse and all the physical abuse within a relationship is how to make her stick around.
Fucking yikes.
Oh, yeah.
Yikes.
All right, two more. Tyler Durden, a.k.a. Owen Cook.
Right, not that Tyler Durden.
Yeah.
Right, we've talked about this.
He's Canadian. So this is from Tyler Durden, a.k.a. Owen Cook, from the perspective of Neil Strauss.
Neil Strauss's The Game. Tyler Durden advocated a new mission. He called it Project Mayhem in favor of Fight Club. And the directive was to run up to an attractive woman and, before even stuttering a word, lightly body check her, whack her on the head with something soft, or physically accost her in some other playful manner.
Because he justifies it in his courses by saying that like this shows that you're bold and confident, not afraid to go there, and that you're dangerous. We find that find that encouraging, but really you're just assaulting this random woman in the street.
That's gross.
This is also a quote of his. Quote, women have no loyalty.
Okay.
They depend on men to work out who has a higher status between them, and she will choose the winner. So women don't have an ability to make choices. They simply let the men fight out who has the bigger status, and then when that's settled, she'll go with the man who has the biggest status. The Julian Blanc guy that was assaulting random women in Japan.
Yeah.
He's a business partner with Tyler Durden for this company called Real Social Dynamics. So Tyler Durden and Julian Blanc opened this company called Real Social Dynamics, and they charge $3,000 for a 3-day seminar.
Oh my God.
And they have been, I would say, the most prolific. If there's anybody making money, it's these two, because they go all around the world and they teach courses every day of the week. And the videos I've seen, there's always a couple hundred men in the room. And a couple hundred men, $3,000 each, they're making bank.
I hate that.
Yeah. They teach keep a strong frame. And I guess the tagline is the stronger reality wins. So basically, if she starts talking about something boring, cut her off. End it. Talk more than the woman you're talking to. Have more energy than the woman you're talking to. Don't let her have an opinion over you. So basically, you have to make your frame stronger than the woman's. You have to be more energetic, more in her face, talk more, interrupt her when she talks about boring stuff, all that shit.
I read the next 2 readings, and I regretted it.
Oh, yeah. You have to put out high value, so you have to be cocky and funny. You make fun of people's mannerisms, sayings, and choices. You push and pull, which is something that they say that I'll bring them in by flirting a bit and then push them away by insulting them. Don't get interested, don't give a shit. So no matter how invested you get, no matter how much you like her, you're not allowed to be insecure and be vulnerable and tell her so. And he also has this thing where he says, get in their way. So if they're ignoring you or if they're just keep on walking, don't be afraid to grab them or get in their way, because sometimes women don't know what they want.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And also positivity. So talk about happy things, laugh, smile, hug, and above all, don't get emotional. Don't show any other emotion besides happiness, because any other emotion besides happiness is weakness.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. He also teaches something called Rip Her In, which is grabbing women, picking them up, or holding them and not letting them go. And this is a quote from one of his seminars. Start with ugly girls to get a feel for it, and getting over the entitlement block. Now, what he's saying for the entitlement block is you feel like you're not entitled to women's bodies. So to get over that entitlement block, just go up and pick women up and touch them without consent, and eventually you'll get over that entitlement block.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Also, big controversy came up when Tyler Durden said in one of his seminars and in an article that he basically raped a woman, and that is reading number 6. I'm not sure if you still want to read it.
I will spare the rest of you from having to read this.
Thank you.
I'll preface it that it's kind of graphic. So, warning to whoever. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do a voice for this one because it feels irreverent.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Yep.
She was a stripper. I fucking hated that fucking bitch. Fucking bitch. She even had the tramp stamp. You know what I'm saying? The full tramp stamp. She's just a full slut whore slut. I fucked the shit out of her, dude. The last way I fucked her too, it was in the morning. She was taking a shower. And I didn't think she wanted to have sex again, but I just threw her on the bed and I put it in her, and I could barely even get it in because she was just totally not in the mood. And I was like, fuck it, I'm never seeing this bitch again. I don't care. So I just jam it in. It's all tight and dry, and I fuck her, and I'm like, I'll just make this quick because she doesn't even want it.
Yeah. So
oh my God.
Just rape.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
Jesus.
Could a justification be made that wasn't rape?
No, that was rape.
And he feels so comfortable in this community. Like, he said this in a room full of other men, and he felt comfortable enough to saying that.
He forced himself on a woman.
Yeah. And he put that up as a good thing. In the context of the seminar, he was explaining how men take what they want.
With a shocking lack of empathy.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I think a lot of these guys run along sociopathic lines. I think it would be hard to do these things without running along sociopathic lines.
Right.
Last one is Gunwitch, or Alan Ray's. And of course, there's lots of pickup artists out there, so this is the last one I'm talking about. He has something that he says is simple, primal, and guaranteed. And to communicate sexual interest non-verbally. So basically, he says that when you interact with a woman, you always have to be thinking of sex and be internally horny.
Internally horny.
Basically, no matter what you're talking about, no matter what you're doing, think about having sex with her. And that way, with every word and every action, you'll communicate that non-verbally to her. And you'll make her realize what your agenda is. And he says that women love finding out what agendas are and what secrets are. So make your agenda that you want to fuck her, and then when she finds that out, she'll be excited enough to do it. Controversy came for Gunwitch when He was arrested for shooting 21-year-old Amber Tripp in the face in his apartment.
Oh my God.
He claims she was wielding a knife. She denies that fact, and so do many of the partygoers. But because all parties involved were intoxicated and witness statements conflicted, he got out of jail with a plea bargain. And he
shooter named Gunwitch.
Oh, yeah. So he was originally charged with attempted murder and first-degree assault for shooting a woman in the face on purpose. He pleaded down to just a felony weapons charge because he didn't have the right registration for the gun. And he didn't serve any prison time.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is reading 7, and I couldn't find a good example of the Gunwitch philosophy, but this is along the lines of what the Gunwitch philosophy is.
I could do this one also.
I'm all right.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
Never, ever, ever wait for a sign before you escalate. You will miss out on the vast majority of chances if you sit around waiting for signs. Men are notoriously bad at reading women's minds and body language. Don't think that you're any different. From now on, you must assume that she is attracted to you and wants to be ravished. All that matters is that you continue to try to escalate physically until she makes it genuinely clear that it's not happening. She wants to be desired, but the circumstances need to be right. With some experience, you will learn to differentiate between the, no, we can't, my parents are in the next room, oh my God, fuck me hard, from the, seriously, get the fuck off me, you creep, variety of resistance. Rub your hands up and down her legs. Make her push your hand away as you get closer to her vagina. Fucking ravish her. Pull out your cock and lead her hand on it. And put your hand on it. Remember, she is letting you do this because you have established yourself as a leader. Don't ask for permission. Grab her hand and put it right on your dick.
And the mantra that all followers of the Gunwitch method follow is a little 5-word saying. And it is make the hoe say no.
What?
Wow.
So they basically teach keep on escalating, keep on touching her more and more, keep on getting closer and closer to sex until she verbally says no. And any other no is not a real no.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're saying is make the hoe say no. So overall, it's hard to bring it all back because there's so many varied, and there's people that are teaching kind of problematic things but are mostly harmless, and then there's people that are teaching people to assault women and are encouraging rape. Really, it's just charismatic men that are naturally charismatic selling the key to sex to other men and making millions doing it. Unfortunately, there's not many positive male role models in society. And
Terry Crews.
Well, yeah. Well,
yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. There are. It's just that
Terry loves yogurt and Robot loves Terry.
Yeah. They are out there, but there's just not many. And unfortunately, these bad actors are more than willing to rush in and fill the void.
Right.
And basically, what the exact problem is I thought about it, and I think it's the non-authenticity. These courses teach you to be whoever she wants you to be. Or whoever your teacher is telling you that she wants you to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So even if
because God knows you're not actually paying attention to what they want.
Yeah. So even if these things work, even if you get laid, even if you get into a relationship, it's built on a house of straw.
Yep.
You did it with a personality and words and strategies that just aren't you. They're somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, they teach good ideas right next to dangerous advice. So a good idea. Take risks. Taking risks gets you ahead, but their version of taking risk is grab a woman without consent. A good idea, getting better at human interaction. Lots of people are awkward and would like to get better at that.
Mm-hmm.
They teach it by faking who you are. A good idea, health and fitness. But the reason they want to get health and fitness is to gain social proof so you can get laid more. And good idea, again, be determined. But that changes into don't take no for an answer.
Yep.
Yeah, and really it's taking the fear of approaching women and finding the solution to that is dehumanizing women.
Yep.
So
treat them like an object. They're just something that like a wormhole.
They're simple-minded, so just blah blah blah.
Well, they just turn into video game characters. They put them on a 10 scale. They give them labels and classifications, and if she says this, it's considered this, and it turns human interaction into a series of flowcharts, and it's just not authentic, and it's just dehumanizing to whoever you talk to. In the end of the day, all I can really do is pray to Valhalla that she will strike these people down.
For the imbeciles that decide themselves to be pickup artists, a very special torture. You shall be made into eunuchs and be my personal assistants forever. I will delight in watching you be forced to stab, burn, and do as I say to yourselves without thought or will. You will trot over broken glass and force your hands into boiling oil at my whim. Your misogynistic and sexist ways shall be punished to my utter delight.
Anyways, that's been Pickup Artists.
Gross.
Yeah. I've been Wood Gallifrey.
Sage Murray.
Richard Bigley.
That was a lot. I'm Robot.
Yeah, I try. This is the condensed down version. See you guys next time. So this palate cleanser was suggested and sent in by our very own goddess Valhalla herself. It is Saturday by the band Hair Force One. Enjoy.
Sunday morning as I look through the sky,
Hello, with the after show, once again, I'm Ood Gallifrey.
Sid Murray!
Leon Filger.
Today we have a bunch of new patrons. Now, we usually only get to do a Patreon roundup maybe once a month, so we usually save it for just one after show a month. So, here we go. The first off, David Paulson. Thank you for signing up.
Thanks, David. Yeah. Next we have Philip Johnson, who is sending us free beer to try.
Yeah, I just gave him our address on Twitter, so he's sending us some beer.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
A $5 patron, Viking Bitch.
I love Viking Bitch.
Thank you. This one is Becky Nelson. Thank you for signing up.
Love you.
Now, this next one is special. She didn't want her name read, but she wanted that website read because she thought it would be useful.
Okay, here we go. So the website is yourlogicalfallacyis.com. So YOURLOGICALFALLACY.
Get
it here.
Fish.
YOURLOGICALFALLACYIS.com.
Yeah.
Go to that site.
Yeah.
Fucking go there right now.
Yeah, when I talk...
Stop listening to us. Go to that website.
When I talked when I talk about me getting out of conspiracy theories, it was logical fallacies and stuff like that helped me get out. So it's a good thing to learn.
I'm going there right now.
One of our Edgelord 666
nice.
Patrons is Patience Lewis.
Oh yes.
Love you.
Okay, next up is Kim Perkins. Thank you, Kim Perkins, for becoming an occultist edgelord.
Woo! And next we have Miriam Ruziak at 666. That's awesome. Yeah. You're a badass, and I love you so much.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is a really cool site.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it classifies them really nicely, and it's really flashy and shit.
Another edgelord, Sean Sharaban.
Sharaban. Sharaban.
Oh, boy.
I'm probably related to them.
Already,
literally, I
Lori, how would you say that?
Smith.
Kuczynski.
Lori Kuczynski, thank you for signing up. And again, if we mispronounced your name, you deserve a new shout out. So just hit us up and tell us.
Yeah, and tell us to fuck off.
Yeah.
Especially tell me to fuck off. I'm pretty sure it's Kuczynski, but...
Yeah, I got a pretty thick skin. You can tell me to fuck off.
Yeah, you can tell me to fuck off.
Yeah. And lastly, their last patron that signed up in the month of September is Kenneth Minnick.
Kenneth.
And we're going to read an email from him in a couple episodes. Because of us, he got invited to a black mass.
Shut up.
Yeah.
What?
He listened to an episode. He tells the whole story, but he listened to an episode about OTO. He talked about it.
that episode.
And he met someone that was in OTO, and he's going to a black mass with
Oh
us.
my God. Okay, it's really good. I'm really excited.
Okay, so thank you for signing up. Once again, we love doing this, and if we could even approach even a percentage of doing this for a living, we would love to.
100%.
10,000%.
Yeah, like 1 billion%.
Roughly.
So we're going to...
Infinity%.
So we're going to keep on putting random bullshit into the black archive to keep you guys entertained.
Okay, when is that coming out?
I'm going to edit it tomorrow.
Good.
Yes.
I've been waiting.
Oh, yeah, I got 3 things, actually, that are going to come out. It's going to be jam-packed. But yeah, thank you for contributing, giving your hard-earned dollars to 3 Canadian idiots to kind of talk about hard things. I mean, you're supporting independent media, and we sure as hell appreciate it.
Sure as fuck do.
Yeah.
Sick as shit.
Yeah, holy shit, you guys.
Motherfuckers.
Okay, also, 100,000 downloads.
Oh, yeah.
100,000 downloads.
Yeah, holy fuck. Where did you all come from?
Yeah.
How did you find out about us?
In 11 months, in 11 fucking months, we've amassed 100,000 downloads.
Yeah.
Holy fucking shit, you guys.
I almost pooped myself
I
when
did
I
poop
read
myself.
that. Yeah. Leon pooped himself.
I pooped myself.
Yeah.
I almost pooped myself.
I think the bong rip I was taking reduced me to just a coughing fit. It was like 100,000.
I prairie dogged a little bit, probably.
Yeah.
I straight fully shit myself.
Okay, cool.
I was sitting on the toilet at
Let's talk more about shitting ourselves. It's really exciting.
I was sitting on the toilet to take a pee because for the last 3 years I've sat to pee because I don't like making a mess.
I've trained my husband to sit to pee. It's way cleaner.
And I shit. I shit while I was peeing when we hit 100,000.
There you go. Dropping bricks with the after show. I'm Ood Gallifrey.
Sage
Leon Filger.
Until next time.
We love you. Bye.
Cheers.